you.
Welcome back, everyone. Yes, I have been running around like a maniac trying to get sorted for our pre-show stream, but I'm here to see everyone coming into the chat room. We're going to be chilling out, we're going to be kicking back, and we're going to be getting ready for my good friend Brendan Drachler coming on the main KBS show immediately after this. So, because we're going to be talking to an astrophysicist, I've got some space, some aliens, and some UFO. Oh, wait a minute. What was that? Yes, indeedy. Here I am. Yes, it's not some Robotoid replacement, as I know maybe Jimmy Jeans might have you believe sometimes. Big shout out to Jimmy. I've not seen him on Skype today. If he jumps on, I'll drag him into the call. But what a few days it's been, right? Dang. I don't know what it is with this show, but this happens from time to time. Need to fix the chat. Not the chat room. I wasn't talking about that. But from time to time, we kind of fall into these flavored shows, shall we say. I would love to take some credit for it, but at no point in lining up, I would say, last week's shows all the way over the weekend, did I put any conscious thinking into how they would all play out and seamlessly fit together. And Freaky Friday, if you didn't tune into that, please go and check out the website, and I'll bring that up here just now so you can see. I've actually gone and put that on an article over on the Kev Baker Show, and you can get to that at kevbakershow.com. But that show there, we were talking about the man in the high castle, one topic that came up. So I've entitled this, The Mandela in the High Castle. Now, I have to give big credit to Chris Anatra, because Chris is the guy. If it wasn't for him, I would have had, or I still would have had no idea that 1977 Philip K. Dick interview, press conference, speech, revelation, proclamation, call it what you may, I had no idea that existed. Or at least maybe, it didn't exist in the worlds I've been to. And only now, with the shows that we're doing and the topics we're covering, maybe only now am I on a timeline where it ever existed. Let that melt your head before we get into today's proceedings. Then we also had over the weekend Paranormal Now with Jared and Richard. Almost forgot there. How rude of me. But what a mind-blowing show that turned out to be. And in some ways, it felt somewhat connected to what Chris had been saying on Thursday night. And that's the quantum businessman. Because he was talking about this really special time, at this moment that we're in the cosmic game right now. And now it's a time where there really is a great potential for good things to come out of everything that's happening right now, despite it being really hard to see. And then we had Jared and Richard coming on, talking about something called the Council of 12 and communications with interdimensional / extraterrestrial entities, a whole host of them. And then, of course, over the weekend as well, we had Bill Bean on, and that tied in with everything because Bill brought along an article about the Mandela effect. And the show after that with Popeye and Joe and Scotty, I think we can all agree that, wow, it has been some weekend here on the channel. And we're going to be kicking off tonight with another regular guest, Brendan Drachler. If you haven't checked him out, he does his own podcast over at thestateoftheuniverse.com. We'll go and check out that before we leave today. But with him in mind, he's an astrophysicist. He's at the Rochester Institute of Technology, and he's working on black holes with a team of scientists, and they're trying to build a simulation that will show what happens in the immediate milliseconds, microseconds, macroseconds after two black holes collide. So we're going to be looking upwards and outwards to space today with Brendan. And because I like space, and I really like hanging with Brendan, I'm fortunate that he was able and is able to come on once a month. And you know how I do that? You know, certain guests come along and they just really make a big impression, not just on me, but on the whole show and the audience and everything else. You know, Nano Girl formed a lifelong friendship there through the show. Big shout out to her. I know her mind was blown with the series of shows we've been putting on. Charlie Robinson, he's coming on tomorrow night. Ben Emlyn Jones. There's a lot of people we bring on, regular guests. We've got one new regular guest to add to the lineup. Chris Anatra, the quantum businessman. He really enjoyed his time, I think, over on the channel here on Thursday. He reached out to me and he wants to hook up once a month to keep us up to date. And I am really excited about helping him get his information that he's working on out there to as many people as possible. So it's exciting times. And of course, we don't do the simulcast now. But I did say I was determined to get more and more content out to all of you, right? Right? Well, I am trying. I hope you will agree that I'm certainly living up to my promise, and I'm trying. And more things on the way, on the horizon. Don't want to go too early and start building things up, you know, because when you start doing that, that's when you find potential guests don't get back in touch with you. And the universe, the timelines, the game, it doesn't like it when you get too far ahead of yourself, right? Don't get too cocky. And all part of the game, as they say. But let's get into some stories, because I'll be on the Kev Baker Show on TFRlive.com and the TFR Live YouTube channel at 10 p.m. And that's 5 p.m. on the East Coast, 2 p.m. on the West Coast, and that is 46 minutes from now. So today we're going to start with some space. And in the UK, I think it's all around the world, I'd imagine we're going to find out here. But my mum messaged me yesterday and she told me, Kev, there's going to be amazing light shows in the sky this week. And I thought to myself, okay, whatever. You know, but no. True to her word, not one, but two amazing types of light shows that my mum has brought to the show today. So a big shout out, credit to her for the material for the show. First story here, and I'm sure this will have stargazers looking up in absolute wonderment. But we have got a meteor shower that is going to be going over. And it says here, the Lyrid Meteor Shower 2020 peaks this week. And here's what to expect. So it says one of the old faithfuls of the annual meteor showers will be reaching its peak this week. The April Lyrids. Well, I wouldn't expect them to be the September Lyrids. I think that's kind of self-explanatory since they happen in September, April, right? So it says the 2020 Lyrid meteor shower this week coincides with the new moon, meaning that there will be absolutely no lunar interference with getting a good view of these celestial streakers. Now, Lyrid meteors may be seen any night through April 25, and they are above a quarter of their maximum in the numbers for about 2.5 days of this time. So when's the best time to go out and try and see these things? If you're not in a city that's got hundreds of ambient light like me, and of course, if we're looking out of our kind of skylights in the loft or out of our windows, I I suppose if you're going stargazing and you adhere to strict social distancing measures, everything will be okay, right? I wonder how the police would react if somebody said, "Yeah, I'm just going out to look at the meteors, mate." I don't think it's going to go too well. So it says on their peak night, which occurs overnight on Tuesday, April the 21st, so tomorrow, folks, right? And into the early hours of Wednesday, as many as 10 to 20 meteors per hour may be visible under dark, clear skies. And the peak usually lasts for just a few hours. And it says in 2020, according to the Observer's Handbook of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, it predicts that this year's maximum occurring at 2 a.m. EDT, and that's 0600 Greenwich Mean Time, which is considered to be good to excellent timing for observers across much of America. So at that time there, um, 6 o'clock in the morning over here, it's getting bright now. So I would imagine this is definitely, if you're in Britain, yeah, no happening. However, what if I was to tell you that you're still going to get an amazing light show in the skies over the UK? Oh, in about half an hour's time. No, they're not going to be beaming me live on Project Bluebeam. I know we would all like that. It'd be pretty cool, right? Not. But guess what's going over the UK? And I hope I don't trigger people with this. We've had callers to the show about what I'm about to talk about. We've got a lot of people who are very, very skeptical of what this gentleman gets up to, and not only his work time, but his free time. Elon Musk's Starlink is to have a bit of a space display, a sky display, if you will. It's going to illuminate the skies over Britain tonight. And if I'm right, it's at 9:56, which is 35 minutes away or so. Let me see what it says here. So it says the spectacle of satellites passing over the UK in what looks like a chain of lights should be visible for the rest of the week, space experts are saying. The 60 Starlink satellites launched by Elon Musk's SpaceX firm appear in a line crossing the night sky. They were launched into space in March, but their current orbital position has made them easier to see in recent days. And stargazers have been using apps and websites to check when they can spot the display. Now, SpaceX has sent 300 satellites into space so far towards a planned network of 12,000, with the aim of improving global internet coverage. They have been taken up in batches of 60, with the most recent launched in mid-March. And the most recent line of satellites has been spotted in Derbyshire, Manchester, Leeds, and across Europe, with many people sharing their excitement on social media. And there's one of the, look at that. That is pretty, it's pretty cool, right? I know there's some people really kind of critical of the technology and things like that. But that there's some kind of, that looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of weird. And you start to think, what's it going to look like when he's got 12,000 up there? Possibility that Google will launch some. How about Facebook? They were trialing balloons. Remember that? We also had Google trialing balloons. Project Loon, I think that was. And you'll never guess who came onto the show and told us about that. But you probably will, because if it's technology, Nano Girl came and told us ahead of everyone else. So yeah, and I know there's people think that there's like nefarious reasons why these satellites might be up there. I don't know. I really, really don't know. But I have to tell you that a couple of years from now, that night sky, if things keep going the way they are with satellites going up every couple of days, it feels, going to be a whole different night sky that we're looking at. A whole different night sky. And I wonder how many people will see this. They don't know it's going to be passing over. You know, maybe driving or looking out their window, whatever you're doing during lockdown, and you start seeing these string of lights going over the house. You know there must be hundreds of UFO reports. There just has to be, right? And it's not that it's, if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't know what you're looking at. It looks like some line of an armada of UFOs, doesn't it? It's a unidentified. If you can't identify it, you're going to think it might be a bit of woo. So it says the National Space Centre in Leicester said each batch was developed to an orbit, about 180 miles above Earth, and had moved to about 340 miles away. Sophie Allen from the centre said current good visibility was down to a combination of the batch's low orbit, clear night skies, and the angle of the satellites in relation to the sun. She said that she expected this to continue for at least another 5 days. You know, when you're talking about having autonomous cars, autonomous robots, things like that, and in particular the cars, because it applies to Tesla. You know, like GPS, you really want to have the full planet covered. Even more so when you're talking about letting a computer drive the car. There's really no error for any kind of lag time or black spots, kind of shady coverage. That ain't really gonna be very healthy to an autonomous system. And they need to have all of that connection, all of that connectivity, and it needs to be absolutely guaranteed that there's always going to be a signal there. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy around all of this stuff right now, but I'm no expert on it, so I can't tell you either way. I can tell you this is happening. And in some ways, you could look at this like any new technology. There's going to be people that like it, and there's going to be plus sides to it. There's going to be people that don't like it, and there's going to be downsides to it. And I just don't think it's very, very, very good juju if any of us fall out over having different opinions over a set of satellites over our head. When in reality, we know us Wookiees in here, we got way too much in common for all of that. So then, with that said, and I'm looking at the time, and I'm very conscious of the fact that in 36 minutes, I will be live with Brendan Drachler. It just wouldn't feel right if we didn't get into some woo today. And I can feel Kevin looking at me out the corner of his eye, probably laughing at his dad, no doubt. But yeah, we're going to get into some aliens. You know, we spoke aliens at the weekend, so we're going to get into aliens today. And guess what? Brendan sent me a paper on as well. Now remember, Brendan is like you would probably say your mainstream scientist. And he likes to trigger people with his NASA badges, and I love that about him. But he sent me a paper, a physics paper, about Oumuamua. Remember that space rock, that first interstellar visitor, as they called it? And I know there's a lot of talk about what's going on in space right now. Comets here, there, everywhere. Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse. This going on, that going on. We've got new telescopes going up. We've got telescopes shutting down. Can't think of a better time to speak to Brendan, to be honest with you. And of course, it's 420 today. Yes, indeed. PPP, ladies and gentlemen. You thought I'd forgot, didn't you? You thought I'd forgot. Not at all. How could I forget a day like that? So, let's head on over. Let's get some alien woo before I leave you today. But only briefly, because I'll be back on TFR just after the stream finishes. And I know I've got a message. It's not a message I need to type back to, but Nano Girl's blushing now. She must be listening to the stream. And no, Nano Girl, I tell you, here we are all these years later, still in the trenches. That's got to mean something, right? It's got to mean something. And the fact that we all come back here, even Jared at the weekend, you know, he's like, Kev, can't say I listen to you all the time, but from time to time I come back and go away. And isn't that the way that life is, though? We're all kind of like that with any show we listen to, right? And I never mind if people don't listen to the show. That's all good. I mean, I'll still be here doing my thing. Don't ever think like if you're not here every day and maybe you don't turn up that well, maybe people will think bad they're not seeing me. No, we don't roll like that here. I listen to Alex Jones every day for a month and he annoys me, so I stop listening to him for a month. I rarely stop listening to Clyde Lewis, even though he calls me Dave Baker, but I can get over that. Um, but aside from that, folks, never feel bad if you ever miss a show or you're not here for a while. That's the way we roll. And talking about how we roll, we always roll into some alien woo at some point, and that's what I've got right here. Mysterious Universe, the website that just does always supplieth the woo. I'm telling you, man, this website is gold. It says the alien actor who says that he has constantly been visited by aliens. Now, I haven't read this, but the reason that headline jumped out at me is the show that we done at the weekend with the guys, right? Yes. My nice KBS cup, Johnny Whistler on the side, looking all suited and booted. You see, if I was a really cute YouTuber, at this point I would say, now you can get your own cup for blah, blah, blah. Nah, don't do merch, no. But it is a nice cup though, right? Definitely. So it says here, the alien actor, and like I was saying, I've already told you the headline, I was explaining, aliens jumped out because of the weekend's topics, the Council of 12, people in contact with alien entities. I tell you, that was compelling listening. It really was. With a few emails on the back of that show, people who have had similar experiences, others who just really enjoyed listening to it. But this here, let's see where this vein of information leads us if we follow my gut, because this jumped out, it connects in a way. So it says here the name Yaphet Kotto is not one that many may be familiar with. I would hazard a guess that unless you're Mr. and Mrs. Kotto, you probably don't have much idea who the heck Yaphet Kotto is. I'm just being honest. Oh, hang on now. Hang on now. I have been summoned on the messenger by... What the heck? Graham, if you're listening, I really don't know. Ah. He's sending me anagrams now. That really confused me. I felt like I was absolutely caught up in some kind of really crazy 17th letter of the alphabet kill code brackets going on and things there. Woo! Meanwhile, back on this timeline, or is it this timeline? I would have to check, right? Wouldn't I? Wouldn't I? After everything we found out recently. Anyway, Yaphet Kotto is one that men. All right, I've already done that bit, innit? See, Graham, see. See, you've done to me. Most famous for his supporting role in the sci-fi horror Alien. Well, why didn't they say that to begin with? He has appeared in a wide range of movies and television shows, including playing the devious villain Kanaga in the James Bond film Live and Let Die, starring in the Arnold Schwarzenegger film The Running Man, great movie, Robert De Niro's Midnight Run, another good one, and many others. So Kotto already has an interesting enough life as it is, growing up as a black Jew on the streets of New York, and in later life finding out that his father was in fact the Crown Prince of Cameroon. Oh, breaking news. Nothing that mixes with the show, folks. We're all good. Back to the woo. So it says, yeah, imagine finding out just one day, oh, by the way, you really are like related to the Crown Prince of Cameroon. You would think it's a scam, wouldn't you? You would think, oh, yeah, sure thing. What does he want me to do? Put 50 grand in his bank or something? How much does he need from me? Not, but it would appear, literally, Crown Prince of Cameroon. Before studying acting at the Actors Mobile Theatre Studio, and then landing stage roles. And after that, his first film role in uncredited bit roles to work his way up from there to eventually become a show business legend. Yet while Kotto's life is colourful and intriguing, What really makes it even more interesting are his alleged experiences with UFOs. Oh, oh, don't tell me. Third time lucky. Don't know why it does that. It takes a while to warm up the old soundboard, but I bet you she'd get it.
How dare you?
Every time. She's first time. Go figure. So it says here, Koto's personal accounts were not really known by anyone except his immediate family, his rabbi, and a psychologist for years. And it was not until journalist Noel Ransom with Vice tracked him down for an interview that would all come out into the open. Now, Ransom had been merely interested in talking to the actor about his experiences making the 1979 film Alien. Is it that old? I didn't actually think it was that old. And although the actor typically did not give interviews, he agreed. And Cotto's talent agent, Ryan Goldhar, made the cryptic statement that he might like to ask him about UFOs as well. So Ransom did, and Cotto would prove to be very candid talking about it all, expressing his desire to finally talk about it after all those years, and weaving some bizarre tales indeed. According to Cotto, he has had encounters with UFOs and aliens most of his life, starting from when he was just a kid. And he goes on to say, it started when I was about 9 or 10 years old and being grounded in the house for coming home late from school. I remember being told I couldn't go outside, so I would look out at the streets of my neighbourhood in the Bronx, watching the kids play stickball. Now I get tired of watching and turn to leave, and standing right at the edge of the doorway to my room was a figure that we would now call the Greys. When I turned around, a figure was behind me. It was at least 5 or 6 feet tall with an elongated head. It appeared, then jumped to the back of me and disappeared. He leaped out of the way like he didn't want me to catch him. I looked down the hall and there was nobody there. I asked my grandmother if there was anybody in the house, and she said no, just you and me. But I never forgot that. And as I got to be a teenager and an adult, I realized, holy, that was an alien. Wow. So it goes on to say here in the article that he was not sure how to classify these experiences at first, but they seemed to follow him wherever he went. Now, when he was younger, it was all very confusing for him because he wasn't sure how to process it all or who to turn to talk about it. Now, on some occasions, he saw UFOs. On others, the aliens themselves, sorry, it says on some occasions he saw UFOs, on others, the aliens themselves. And he also believes that he may have been abducted. Now, he has explained of this and the effect it all had on him. At one point, I remember being at home at 6 p.m. and I went into my office in the garage to meditate, and I saw something. I looked at it for about 5 minutes, and it was light. I was wondering why my neighbours were shining a light through the top of my garage window. So I went to talk to them. Now keep in mind, I'd been sitting in that car garage for some 12 hours, and I believed that I contributed to those things that were flying above my garage. I shouldn't call them things, they were aircraft. As I got older, I understood what they were. I went through my youth, however, not talking about what I was experiencing, and therefore I didn't talk about it. I would just experience something and file it away until something larger happened. And this is the thing other UFO witnesses don't talk about. Every time I moved into a house, above it at some point, there would be a circle of what looked like smoke. Now, I wondered where it came from because it sure as hell didn't look like the clouds. Now, those sightings continued for a good 10 to 15 years. And I'd also had time loss. Oh, yeah, there you go. you knew time would have to come into this as well, just to link into everything we've been talking about recently. I have a big loss of time somewhere, loss of time between some of these moments, and I'd often wonder if I was taken. It didn't mean anything to me back then, but looking back, I thought, wait a minute, brother, these guys are real. I didn't accept it fully until I was 35 or 40 years old. A lot of the time, I never even talk about it. I was having ET experiences from the time I was 10 years old. Weird experiences. First, they took me to a psychiatrist, a priest, a rabbi, and no one could dispute it. Why would I be making things up at 10? I saw the damn things. Now, that was something that really kind of hit home the other night, didn't it, when we were listening to the testimony of Richard in particular, and when he was talking about growing up, not being able to talk about these things and seeing some things that you can't, like, you don't get to pick what you see when you've got this kind of third eye, this connection, this relationship, this sight, whatever you want to call it. And I know some people out there are really kind of on the fence when it comes to channeled information. I'm one of them. But I tell you what, you sit down, I was in that conversation with those two guys, and I didn't pick up any BS. And why? Why go to all these lengths, to talk about something like that? Surely ain't no payday waiting in the wings for people to talk about the Council of 12 and stuff like that. There isn't. But that doesn't mean it's not real. And in fact, why would people make it up? So that's why I keep a very open mind. Very open mind. Doesn't mean I leave my mind open till the point that my brain turns to black goo. I'm skeptical as well. But more and more people are going through weird things. And that's just the ones that we know about. Maybe the people that haven't been brave enough to share their stories yet. It does make you wonder. It does. So it says here, some of the most disturbing experiences he claims happened when he was in the Philippines for work. And while there, he says that he had several strange incidents with UFOs, of which he says, I was one evening in my office in the Philippines, and I heard my wife and the waiters calling me to come outside in very anxious voices. So I went out, and when I got there, I saw the same huge circle of smoke over the house. Now, I've seen pictures of these before. I've seen videos of them on YouTube. Always left me baffled. Always. Always a little part of my brain thinks, well, it could be made up. But again, they're not all made up. So if it's a thing, what the heck is it? And it was happening to this dude. So it says when I asked them what they saw, they said they saw a UFO as big as the Yankee Stadium turned upside down. They were freaking out. 2 or 3 nights later, I saw it. The thing blotted out the entire sky, the moon and everything. It was huge. I just remember saying, Jesus Christ. And I mean, I got so nervous, man, because you don't see something like that without being vulnerable to becoming psychologically blown away. You get scared, to put it quite frankly. That messed me up for a good 3 or 4 days. I mean, we've had them follow us around, showing up in places where I'm at. At one point, I was getting ready to run with my assistant in the morning around Manila in the Philippines. Got up, went outside, and we hadn't gotten very far when one of those aircrafts showed up. And my assistant freaked out and said, look at that. And I said, yeah, and kept moving. It followed us around, and she ended up telling all her friends. Now, the next morning when we got ready to go out, I mentally sat down and began to disbelieve it and thought, if 2 show up, I'll believe. So we went out, and sure enough, 2 of them showed up, and the next day it was 3 that showed up as if by request. So Cotto says that he even had an odd experience while filming the movie that he is perhaps most famous for amongst mainstream audiences. and that's Ridley Scott's Alien. Filming occurred during the heyday of his UFO experiences, and at that point, he was already very deep into ufology and had many encounters. Now, as he made his way round the set, he says he made some curious observations, of which he explains. Now, I'll admit it, there were things that I alone found on set of Alien, the spaceship. That mechanism that Sigourney Weaver throws to put the Suluco, the fictional spacecraft, on automatic destruct. There were symbols there, symbols that had nothing to do with the ship in the film, and I kept finding these symbols. They were like Egyptian symbols, and I started trying to decipher them, which I was able to do. What in the world? This one is a head scratcher, to be sure. It's difficult to know what he means by this. He doesn't elaborate any further in the interview, and it's at this point some people might start to think he might be delusional. But Cotto claims that he's completely serious and has had no family history of mental illness. Now, he's also very clear about having nothing to gain from coming forward with these experiences. And when Ransom suggested that some of his stories and some readers might think he's making it all up, Cotto goes on the defensive, saying, "There's no reason for me to make these claims. I've never promoted any book or anything like that. I've never read anyone talking about the experiences I've had. I've never made I've made 75 movies, and I've done television shows. I'm known all over the world. This confession wouldn't advance me. I advance myself through acting. Other people may do this to try and advance themselves, make it public, and then become famous. I'm already famous, so what possible purpose would I have to tell these stories except how it relates to the movie Alien? This is the reason why I never talked about it after that movie. Because, of course, they'd say, oh, he's trying to promote this movie. Well, I'm not promoting anything now. And I've written no books, and I've made no movie that is about to be released. This is the time to reveal this because no one can connect it to anything that's a financial game or form of media exposure. Now, if someone asks me if I ever experienced anything that's remotely close to an alien, I'll say, damn right I did. It's happened since I was 9 years old, and it's continued since then. So I really don't care whether anyone thinks I'm delusional. My delusion is over. I've taken a position on that. Nearly finished here, folks. It goes on to say that Cotto does not seem to really understand why he should be chosen to be so closely followed by these entities, or why they have done so for decades. I wonder if he's Rh negative. I'm just saying. However, he does think he knows the reason that they are here to begin with, and believes that they have a larger purpose to play in the future of humankind. In the end, his closing thoughts on the matter are explained thusly. We're not alone. We're not alone in the universe. If you totally westernize the idea, look at it from a supremacy viewpoint, then you'll say everyone's imagining them when it comes to these things. We can't say that. But much of the world would reject that premise. We're not alone. They aren't going to go away, and I honestly believe these species, not this species, but these, plural, are close to making themselves known in this century to this generation, he explained. I believe their purpose is to make sure we don't kill ourselves. We're losing our rivers, lakes, mountains, and our caps are melting. We need to take a serious look at what we're doing, and they are going to help us to do that. So, what are we dealing with here? Just another typical day on KBS, right? Sorry, dry throat there. Is this notable actor telling the truth, or is this all delusions and tall tales? Well, he sounds very, very together when he's explaining how, what on earth's name would he be doing this for? There's nothing to be gained that he doesn't already have. He's got money, he's got success at his acting career. I don't even know why you need to question this. Okay, could have some mental episode. I get that. I'm more willing to lean towards this being very real. It's hard to see why the notoriously reclusive Cotto would suddenly come out of hiding to lay this all out for everyone to see. And it's hard to argue that he would have no promotional or monetary motivations to do so. Is he just delusional, or is he maybe telling the truth about these odd encounters? The fact that he is well known makes his stories more widely played. But in the end of what but in the end, what are we to make of them? Whatever the case may be, the irony cannot be possibly lost that the actor of Alien has had some rather weird alien encounters of his own, and it remains a compelling oddity. Oh, that it does. Oh, that it does. Now, I can't tell you if he is definitely telling the truth or not, but what I can tell you quite confidently is that I do think there are people that are in communication with other entities. We sometimes call them ETs, we sometimes call them interdimensionals. At this point, I really don't know what the correct term is to use because I don't think we've got the language to fully explain and categorize just what it is we're talking about. We are so young in cosmic terms, but we're on the cusp of maybe reaching adolescence or maybe growing up a little bit to the point where it might sound new agey and a bit hopiumishy. I'm not telling you to buy a t-shirt, I'm not trying to flog you anything. But I really do think I've got a feeling Bill Bean said it last night about the angels. You know, call them angels, call them ETs, call them what you will. This is something really big going on this planet right now on many different levels and possibly many different timelines. And how we even start to wrap our head around all of that is mind boggling. I really want to I don't want to think, I want to thank all of you for being here. Looking at the clock, I've got 12 minutes now to go and get the guest, get ready, and get on to tfrlive.com to talk about everything to do with space, woo, aliens. I've got Brendan Drachler coming on, and it's 420. So a big shout out to all of you people on 420. I hope you are enjoying it this year. Usually, you'd go down Glasgow Green on 420, not this year. No, things are different this year. But hopefully 420 next year, we'll all be able to double down and go out and celebrate this infamous day. So, folks, keep it real. And I'll be over on tfrlive.com. You can get to the chat room /chat. You can go to TFR Live on YouTube. And I'll be back here tomorrow at some point, probably earlier on in the evening, with a pre-show stream ahead of Charlie Robinson coming on at 10 o'clock in the UK. So until 11 minutes from now, keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. So, quick one before we go. DJ Russell in the chat room says there's 360 Starlink satellites. That makes sense. They're going up in batches of 60. So if I do my math, and I ain't really that good at math, but does that mean after the next batch of satellites, there's going to be 420,